Hello and welcome back to another graphic novel review. Today's review is going to be on Lost in Taiwan by Mark Crilley. Now, Mark Crilley is a very achieved artist and has several titles in production. And this story here, it's mainly about the art, honestly. The art is fantastic. Mark does both the illustrations and the story for his releases. So let's talk about the book itself. I like the fact that, first of all, it's full color. It's a full color print, and it's done very tastefully. There is a lot of skill portrayed in all of his art. And I just think the color scheme is fantastic as well. The book itself is printed on laminated paper. It's actually rather dense, so it's a very good feel in the palm as you're reading it. This is a paperback copy, and this title was picked up from my local public library. Now, this is going to be a real short review because we're going to talk more about the story. Now, what I did really, truly love about this is the art itself. Very elaborate. The only thing that was rather difficult for me was the portrayal of the local people. They did not appear to have the ethnicity in their. This young lady here is Taiwanese and looks more Greek than Asian. So that was the only thing that really set me aside as far as the art was concerned. But the story was very straightforward. So the gentleman here, the main protagonist, this is Paul. And Paul is an introvert. He's a gamer, loves to be inside, deals with his friends. We got friends all over the globe, actually, through social media, gaming platforms, and doesn't get out much. His brother, Theo, is a traveler and is currently living in Taiwan. And they have convinced him, Theo and Paul's father, to visit Theo in Taiwan. And up until this point, during this 2-week-long visit, he spent the majority of this time in his brother's apartment. What I did not like about the story was, I guess it needed to be a part of it. I don't know if there was confusion as far as the planning for the visit, but Theo and his girlfriend skips town during Paul's visit. So Paul, during his visit, is left in Theo's apartment. Well, while in Taiwan, Paul's friend, a gamer, has notified him about a portable game console that is very popular in across the world, but stems out of Taiwan. And there is a local game shop in town that has a copy of this console. This console is kind of hard to get. It's a little expensive, but they figure that if they buy it locally, it shouldn't cost that much. So they did some research. They found a local game shop that actually had the console in shop on hand for a very affordable price. So while Theo was out traveling with his girlfriend, vacation or something, he decides he wants to go out to do check out and purchase this game console. So he gets there, uses the GPS on his phone, finds the gift shop, and purchases the console, just to find out that it is literally a kid's console. Kids console, like the ages from 3 to 8. So he was a little frustrated that it was a far too simplified gaming console. So during his little fussy reaction, he decides to text his friend back as soon as he leaves the store and send him, a bro type reply, fussing at him for all this weird travel throughout the area, and having him leave the apartment to pick up a game console that wasn't worth it. During his texting fit, he ends up fumbling with the phone and dropping it, and ends up cracking it and rolling over into a puddle of water that was inside the street. And by the time he recovers, the phone is damaged. So he used the GPS. He hasn't been out of the apartment up to this point. He uses the GPS to get to the store, and now he has to use the GPS to get back to his brother's apartment. But the phone is dead. He can't make a phone call. He can't access the GPS, and now he's lost. Now, this whole story, very straightforward, slightly uneventful, actually, in my opinion. I rated this story overall a 2.8, 2.7, mainly because of the art itself. The art was rather enjoyable. But the story there's nothing to the story, basically. But the thought behind this story is sometimes you have to get lost to find out where you really are. And it's literally tapping into that mantra of the introverted individual that doesn't do anything, doesn't go anywhere. He's never really tasted culture. He's never really, excited or desires, getting out and learning something new outside of what he's familiar with. And so now he is in a foreign country that he's unfamiliar with, and he's lost in a town and has no way of getting back. So he starts to wander. And as he wanders through this town, he comes across a young lady. And she is a delivery person. She delivers, she runs errands like an Uber or a Lyft. And during their encounter of each other, she decides that she was going to help this guy out. Very friendly. And that was something else about the culture in Taiwan that the artist wanted to portray, about how friendly they are, how connected they are with each other. So she was kind enough to, let's take you along on my deliveries. And hopefully that as I am driving through town and doing what I'm doing, something will be familiar to you and we can help you find your way home. And sure enough, they do. But the story is all about their trip through the town, about how she takes him to a local restaurant. He tries out food he's never tried before. She gets a chance to meet her brother and her grandmother. He gets a chance to eat at the grandmother's residence because she has to make an errand to her grandmother and drop something off. And so as they find themselves traveling through town, he does end up saying, that looks familiar, and eventually picks up on certain things and finds his way back to his apartment. And then once he does, the story concludes. I mean, that's it. He finds his way back, and he's able to repair his phone, and the story comes to a close. But it was all about that trip. Now, there's no real harsh encounters. There's no twist to the story. However, like I said, a lot of the imagery is quite interesting. And he gets a chance to, I didn't mark that page, but he gets a chance to see the monastery. There's a couple of churches. He got a chance to witness a wedding, and just a few other things. And so some of the art where he gets a chance to see the temple, that was very, very enjoyable. The art is, like I said, the main part about the story was this book is about the art, and it was just fantastic. A lot of the imagery. This is a very, very talented artist, and I may end up considering some of his other titles. Very talented artist, definitely extremely talented artist. He has a multi-series, multi-volumed story called Brody's Ghost, and I may end up checking that out. But this particular story, 2.8, possibly a 3 because of the concept behind the story. But it's a real quick, simple read. You can read it in one night. Just pick it up and run through it real quick. I sit beside myself just a little bit because I've had this discussion myself quite often. I'm a bit of an introvert. I don't like to go anywhere, but I like to have a good time. And so I've been in this position. I've made 2 trips to South Korea, been in Hawaii, Alaska, Guam. I've visited quite a few places, Japan, and I see the premise of the story. And I do have memories that I'm glad I have, simply because I also left the apartment for whatever reason. However, I don't take it as that big of a loss. I wouldn't have if I had not. There have been times during my travels where it probably would have been a better idea to get out and do something. But I'm introverted. I'm comfortable with not having gone anywhere. I'm comfortable with not having done anything. So for me, reading this title is like having that discussion again. It's like, I'm going to give you an example of why it would be a good idea to get out and go do something. But having been in that position before, it's not convincing. And even though the art is rather detailed, the story itself is trying to capitalize on the experience of getting out. So, with that being said, enjoyed the title, 2.8, great art, and I want to thank you for joining me. Mark Crilley's Lost in Taiwan is CG rated 2.8 stars with the reader's reaction of single thumbs up. I liked it.